So after your career was over with Babson, you had the opportunity. You went on to play Division I college hockey with New Hampshire. How did that opportunity come about to play Division I college hockey, and why did UNH? Why did you want to go to UNH? I guess versus other places you might have looked at.
Yeah, with the ever-changing landscape of college hockey, so even though since we only played a few games our junior year, every person who was affected by that got the opportunity to pursue a COVID year. And before my senior year, I kind of thought I talked to my parents and stuff, and that okay, if I have a good year and something was able to come about, I'd like to just put my name out there and see if any opportunities would come about to try to play Division I to prove to myself and prove to others that I'd be capable. And so, yeah, after a successful 4 years in senior season at Babson, I talked to Coach Rice, went in the transfer portal, and just wanted to see what would come about. I had some idea that there'd be some interest, and then when I got in the portal, I got calls from a new number of not too many, but a number of Division I schools. Some said it was interesting. Some even then it was another one of those prove people wrong moments. Some I get a call and was yeah, I don't know if you could play here. I don't know if you could play in this league, but we're interested in you. We're somewhat interested in you. I know who you are and I know who you played, but I don't know if you're able to play here. And so that was when I toured at a few places, and then I toured up at UNH. I know Coach Susan and Coach Rice have a really good relationship, and as soon as I stepped on campus and went on the tour and met with the coaching staff, the Coach Souza, Coach Jules, Coach Stewie, I knew that this is where I wanted to be, and I just wanted to. I left thinking this is an unbelievable place. The tradition and the community involvement in UNH hockey. It's 100% a hockey school. And when I left campus and after the tour and after meeting with them, I texted my parents and called them and was like, yeah, there's 100% I could see myself being here next year. It's a perfect fit. And it gives you the opportunity to play Hockey East where every kid in New England dreams about. And so I just wanted to make, I remember after I wanted to make sure, like I said, the school is a big, important aspect for me. And I wanted to make sure that my master's program would line up with this class schedule. The class schedule and the practice schedule line up. So me and the coaching staff, Coach Souza, Coach Jules, I felt like we were digging on it. It was like nails on a chalkboard for 3 or 4 days to try to figure out the behind the scenes if it would work out. And once it worked out, it was a no brainer to want to come up here for the year, prove to myself, prove to others that I could play Division I college hockey, and forever grateful for Coach Souza, Coach Jules, Coach Stewie for giving me the opportunity up here. When, like I mentioned, it's the same thing after Woodstock Academy. Not many schools gave me the opportunity. Not many people believed in it, but they did, and so that's something that I'll forever be grateful for.
What's the biggest difference between D1 and D3? I feel like everyone asks that, but you actually know what it's like.
Yeah, I get asked that all the time, and it's weird because I can't really give that much of an answer just because it's similar but it's different in so many unique ways. I think playing wise, I think that's what more people look for. I think in Division I, you've got four lines and you have teams. Every team is capable of winning games, and that's not to say that in Division 3, but I think even the lowest teams can sometimes upset the top dogs in Division 1, and you have to be on your A game every single time. You never know if you're going to win every game. You can't even have that mindset in Division 1. Where in Division 3, I think there'd sometimes be teams where you never want to say it out loud. Oh, we're probably going to win this game, but you go into it thinking, okay, they're not as solid. This line isn't as top as ours, or like they're not as deep. So we're probably going to be able to win this game. And I know that's to be said in Division 1 too, but that was one thing that I felt was a little bit different. But I sorry about that. But it's tough to put in words what the difference is. I think the rigor in Division 1's a little bit more intense. You've got certain lifestyle that you're at the rink for a lot longer. And Babson was a very well run Division 3 program. I'd say is probably the top, if not the one of the top run programs in Division 3. So I think that put me in a really good spot to be used to the workout regimens, to be used to the practice plans and the kind of the schedule of Division 1, where it's a little bit more than some Division 3 schools. But I felt like I was in a good spot. So I just kind of blabbed there. I can't really put it into words what the difference is just because it was a it was a unique experience that both spots are great and they're different in their own ways.
Yeah.
But I just know that deep down, but I can't really speak upon to what the main difference is because I don't think there is one.
I think the two main differences for me are like one, like I feel like Division One, you have like some elite players.
Yeah.
Like obviously when you stepped on the ice and you saw Cy Leclerc and Sardarian, it's probably like, well, like you've never really played with those type of guys before. And then
Yeah,
the
and you're
attention as well. Like obviously more people are watching Division One hockey than Division Three, and the whole like the social media presence, the fans that are there, like it's just that sort of I think maybe
Yeah,
takes
oh,
the
absolutely. That
prize.
is one thing that's major. Like you're stepping on the ice. We're playing Cutter Gauthier at BC, who's the fifth
Yeah.
overall pick, and there's the social media presence, the fan engagement, the interaction. That's stuff that's a little bit that feels like more minor. I think when people ask what the difference is, but I mean it's a quicker game in Division One. But that's not to be said that some top Division Three players could definitely play in Division One. I know they have, so I think it's just top to bottom in Division Ones. You're all the guys are a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, a little bit tougher.
And like you said, you wanted to prove some people wrong, and it didn't take you long to do that as you scored your first goal in one UNH's first games against Army. Talk about scoring your first D1 goal and where you keep the puck today.
Yeah, the Army goal was pretty cool. It was one of my most memorable goals. It was just the way I scored it, the place, the time, and the place to score it. It was we had put we it was our second home game, and the Wit was almost sold out. I think we had like 5,800 people there, so the student section was packed, and it was right at the start of the game. Chase Stevenson, one of my guys who I live with in our captain, I say to him, he chucked a grenade at backhand, but I was able to kick it in my forehand, fake a shot, and I saw that and it was me kind of alone with the goalie and fake the shot, went backhand. I'm a taller guy, my reach is a little bit longer. I use a little bit longer stick, so once he was sliding left, I could slide it back on his blocker side, and I just filled with emotion. It was just a combination of a lot of different things to get there. Division 3 high school hockey player 4 or 5 years ago, if someone had told me that you're going to be scoring a goal playing for a team in Hockey East 5 years later, I probably would have laughed at them. And so that was just a combination of just a lot of different things, a lot of hard work, and a lot of determination and proving people wrong. That it resonated and it felt really really good going down the line. All the guys came over and give me, and they've been the guys were awesome. They even though you come from a league that's lower level Division 3, and they were just so fired up for me and so happy. And so that was something that was something one probably the most memorable goal I scored this year. So I have the puck. I didn't even know if I'd get I didn't even think about it. But then after the game, our equipment guy was like, I wasn't sure if you'd want to keep this, but I got you the puck anyway. So it's cool. It's got the UNH logo on it. So that's something that I'll keep. I'll keep that along with my first goal at Babson. I think I got one from high school too. So I didn't know if I have it, but I didn't. I definitely didn't ask. Oh, did you guys have the puck? It just came up to me, and it was
Yeah.
fortunate that they grabbed it.
But
Something
now you have the pucks with Babson logo, UNH logo, and your high school logo. So it's like all three places that you played for.
exactly. I do have all three, so that's something that's cool. Then I think I got one at Winch too. So it's a combination of the four places throughout my hockey journey and how impactful each place was for me.
Now, UNH had quite an interesting year, at least from my perspective, and I feel like your record sort of didn't really indicate the talent that your team had because your team kind of got off to a slow start, especially in Hockey East. It took you guys up until January to win your first Hockey East game, but then you guys went on sort of a run towards the second half of the year. Just talk when you look back on it now. What was your thoughts on your team's performance this season?
Yeah, I mean it was an up and down year and it was a crazy year. We started off really hot. We went up and swept Clarkson and St. Lawrence up there, which is a really hard weekend sweep, and we were in a really good spot. We felt like we had the team that could do some damage and make a run, and then like we had a lot of young guys on the team and a lot of new guys, whether it be transfers, freshmen, and I think we kind of got into the learning curve early and lost a few games. We weren't playing how we knew we were capable of playing, and I think guys kind of got down. You kind of get focused on yourself a little bit more, where you have some young guys, new transfers, try to make an impact, and it's you're okay. I want to get in the lineup, and then you're in the lineup, and you're like, okay, well, I want to get points and stuff, and you're not always going to get points only the top guys are really going to be a point per game in Division 1 college hockey. And I think it takes a little bit to realize that. And so we weren't playing up to our ability, and we weren't playing to the standard and the ability that our team we had seen and that we knew we were capable of. And I think when you go on a losing streak like that, you almost find ways to lose. Like there'd be a couple games we were up 2-0. We outshot UMass 20-2 in the first period. We were up 2-0 on them, hit like three posts, could have been up 4 or 5-0. And 3 minutes into the second period, it was 3-2 UMass. Like it was just stuff like that was happening. We weren't playing completely committed to doing things the right way and playing together as a team. And that changed once we got back from break. I think we got that monkey off the back, the overtime win, the last game into break, and we joked like, "Oh, we're on a win streak, like going into break." But it was a you go into break carrying that burden of a 13-game losing streak, and you could just sink the season right there. But we won that, and it gave every guy a sense of relief and just a refresher. You go home for the holidays, you come back, guys have a little bit more of an idea where their role is, who's playing with who. The line started to get meshed together and play really well, and we got swept up at Union, even though we completely dominated. I think we outshot them 3 times, like 37-12 in the first game and lost 3-2, and then outshot them like 31-15 the next game. And we lost both. And so that was a little bit of a demoralizing 2 defeats, but we had the confidence. We're like, guys, we played well there. Like it's gonna click. And then we swept the next weekend, started getting on a win streak, won some big games against Providence, Lowell, swept UConn, and beat Maine shootout twice. And so that was when we were able to, you get in a good spirit, you get in a good mindset, and the confidence in the room was there. And so I think that was just, it was a tale of 2 seasons for us. And I think though it'll be primed for UNH to have a really good year next year. They're not losing many guys, just a few seniors are departing, and I think they're primed to have a really, really successful year from start to finish next year.
Yeah, I actually think that Providence game sort of was the game that sort of spun you guys on the right way because I think Providence was sort of expecting a certain type of way that you guys going to play. You really shut them down defensively, and obviously David Fezenden had a great game as a goalie, and you guys found a way to win that really tight game. And I just remember Coach Souza like was coaching his butt off on the bench, like yelling at you guys. It was like fun to watch from the stands, and that's sort of
Yeah,
that's at least I thought when the turning point took place. I
yeah,
know a lot of guys
absolutely.
point out to the Arizona State game.
Yeah, no, I think the Arizona State was a nice like relief before the season, but to come out and get swept the first 2 games after the break, and then we're like, wow, we haven't won a Hockey East game. We had played Providence really, really well. We lost to them in a shootout. We actually scored a goal at the buzzer that didn't count. So we were like, all right, we know we're capable. We match up well against these guys, and then we came out and played to how we're able to. And Fezzi had an unbelievable game. I think he was making left and right saves. They probably hemmed us in for about, we were up 2-0 with about 3 minutes left. I don't know if the puck left the zone once, but that was something that was really good to see a win through from the first period. You get up 2-0. We had blown a couple of those leads in the fall. And just to see it through, you finally were able to win a game. That gave us confidence. We went in, we played them on a Friday, played Sacred Heart that Sunday, and just we dominated Sacred Heart right after that. And that was like, all right, guys, this is the type of team that we should be, and this is what we're capable of. So I definitely think whether the Arizona State was a sigh of relief, and then the Providence was the turning point for sure.
Now, obviously, the most memorable point of the season, I assume, for you was when you got to play against your younger brother, Jake. Talk about what it was like playing those 3 games against UConn. Obviously, one in your home state in Connecticut, and then the other 2 at the Whittemore Center. And that's one thing that many people don't get to do is play against their sibling in the Division 1 college hockey level, and you finally get to say you did that. So I feel like as a brother, you must have just been proud to say like, hey, at least from your family's perspective, like both of our kids got to play against each other at the highest level.
Yeah, no, it was a combination of so many different things and hard work for both us, me, Jake, and them, our parents, and everything that they've done. Uh, we played UConn that Friday night, and he wasn't in the lineup, and I was pretty pissed off about that. And we had a hell of a game against them. They took it to us. But it felt really, really good to beat them that Friday night. I had an empty netter in that one. It was an empty netter, but I was definitely fired up and juiced up to be able to put that one away and beat them up there. And then we found out the next morning, Jake had texted that he was going to be playing that evening, that afternoon game against us. And it was awesome. We had a bunch of friends and family who were already planning on coming up no matter what, up to Durham. And just getting to play in that game, was really, really special. We were texting, I was texting. He didn't play much this year. And so I was just texting him, play your game, play your style, like you know what you're capable of. And we took a photo pregame. It was really it felt really, really cool. And it was something that I having the photo now and to look back on up there was it was awesome. I was happy that he got a chance. He came to a couple of our games up in Durham, so it was awesome that he got the chance to play at the Wit. And we never actually were on the ice against each other that game, but that was almost in a way a little bit better because I got to watch him. It was his first game in a while, and he was unbelievable that game. Like he was making plays. I thought he had one tee in the slot that I thought he was gonna score on, and I was gonna be like, "Are you kidding me? Your first career college goal? Like I want to be happy for you, but it's the game winner against us." And then uh Arseni robbed me. It was a 2-2 game, and he robbed me
Mhm.
with like 10 seconds left. And one of the best save. I couldn't even believe it. And so I was a little upset about that because if I had scored the winner with 10 seconds left when he was out there, I the dinner table would have been full of chirps for the next couple of years. But so then that was cool, and I was just really, really happy. I was happy that we won in overtime for that game, swept the weekend. But I was also really happy for him because he didn't have the year that he was expecting or even necessarily deserved. So I thought that just showed he hadn't played in months, and he came out and was probably guys on my team were coming up to me saying like he was the best player on the ice for UConn. Like I thought he was making plays, making a bunch of good moves, good passes, had some good shots, and I was like, yeah, that's who he's been. That's who Jake is. That's the kind of player he is, and that's the kind of guy who I know who he is. He's that type of player, and I'm glad you guys all saw it because I'm not crazy talking about him, talking him up. But and then we got the chance to play at and in stores at Toscano where that we had a good amount of family members up at the game and
Oh, we
friends
heard them.
up in the game at up in Durham, but it was probably double that. I think we had 30 or 40 people in attendance for that. And so that was really it was cool to be able to play at the rink and play and being a Connecticut guy and be able to play at Toscano was cool, but the result of the game wasn't what I wanted. And Jake and I actually got the chance to play against each other for a couple of shifts. I gave a pizza to the center ice, and he almost scored his first career off my awful turnover. And we were chirping after the whistle. We were kind of getting at him, and he was chirping me for the bad pass. And I was like, I'm just trying to be a good brother, get you your first career goal. But no,
Yeah.
he had a point in that game, and he played really, really well. And so I was happy he got his first career college point, and kind of showed that he's not the type of player who should be in the stands for 20 plus games in a row. He showed the impact that he can have on the game. And so whether even though we lost, I was upset about that. I was really just happy culmination of those two games where we got to play against each other that he showed his value. I think everyone, if you watched both those games or any of those games, you should people were probably surprised, like, oh, who's this Jake Black kid who was sitting in the stands for 20 games? But he's coming out here and making plays. He's fast, he's quick, he can make plays and put pucks on net and cause havoc and create chaos. And so that's what he did. And so I was upset that we lost six and it was a blowout. I didn't play great, but it was another one of those moments where it was really, really special for my family, all my friends. My grandma was able to come to that game, grandparents, uncles, niece, nephew, like all of our cousins were there, and so that was cool. Just that we got to both play. He played better, but and they won, but I was still happy for him because it showed what he's capable of and showed what it was missing in the Yukon line. He was missing in the Yukon lineup throughout that year. So I was really happy for him, but I still remind him that hey, you guys might have smacked us at home, but we still beat you 2 out of 3 times. So
Yeah.
I still have the upper hand on you there.
Yeah. I like the hug that the handshake line. That was cool too.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and I just said I was just like congrats, like he played great. Like I knew he got his point, and I was sitting on the bench, and I was upset that we were losing. But when I hear his name get announced and he gets his first assist, like there's a part of you that is really, really proud of everything that he's done, everything he's accomplished, and I've tried to be a mentor towards him. We've gotten really, really close over as you get older, the gap shortens, and when we're both playing college hockey and in the same league. You talk and you talk to one another a lot. You rely on one another a lot, and so that was something that I was really really proud of him and happy for him. And so it was unfortunate that way. Like I said, I keep saying we lost, but at the end of the day, I was really happy for him, and it was something a memory that I'll cherish, and I know my family will cherish for the rest. I think my mom's getting a couple. We took one at Durham, a photo before the game in Durham, and then we took another one at Toscana. So I think my mom's going to get them both framed and hang them in the basement. So that was something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And like you said, not many people get that opportunity, and I'm forever grateful for it and excited. I was really excited about it.
Yeah, no, just from a UConn fan perspective, like obviously knew Jake played very well in the North American Hockey League heading into this year. And obviously, UConn was sort of an older team, so I wasn't sure like who was going to be in and out of the lineup, but just to see how he worked himself in the lineup and sort of made an impact towards the end of the season and finally scoring a big goal against Boston College in the last game of the year was just really good to see his development. I know he's going to have a big sophomore year, especially since he might get more playing time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, I know that's what I told him as the year went on. You just gotta wait for your opportunity, wait for your moment. And when it did, I'm biased, but it was many games too late for his opportunity
Yeah.
to come. But when it did come, he sure proved what he's able to do. And I think every single person, he was an impactful player down the stretch for them. And I just am excited for him next year to take that next step, have more of an opportunity, and show the UConn fans, but also Hockey East, like, oh, who is this guy that we haven't really heard about from Pomfret, Connecticut,
Hmm.
and just try to show that what he did in the North American Hockey League can transfer over to college hockey and Hockey East. So I'm really excited for him next year, and I'll be in the stands watching him at UConn quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, one more question I want to ask you before I end this meeting is just you played your final college hockey game against Providence in the playoffs. Obviously, it was an OT loss. How have you reflected on that game, and what will you take away from your UNH hockey career, even though it was 1 year?
Yeah, I reflected like I was crushed after the game. I knew that I was probably not gonna pursue, as I mentioned, with academics being really important, and with wanting to start my financial and career and my working career, I kind of knew that I probably wasn't going to try to pursue pro hockey. I had opportunities after to go play in the coast for a couple of weeks, but I knew that overall that that wasn't gonna be where I was at next year. So I knew that the playoffs were kind of my last hurrah, my last competitive hockey games, and so losing like that was really tough because that's a game that we definitely could have won and played them. We played them hard. We didn't play our best, but we were still in overtime, and we just a bounce goes one way, maybe the bounce goes our way, and it's completely different. But so I was crushed because I knew we'd be playing Merrimack the next weekend. We play them pretty well. We matched up decently against Merrimack, and so getting to the Garden is a dream of mine. I was never able to play there, but I'll always be grateful for my experience at UNH. I'll never have anything bad to say about the program and the place. It really is, I think, one of the best places to play in Hockey East and all of college hockey. Even though we weren't that successful, when you have 4,000, you're the second highest fan average attendance in Hockey East, and you're towards there's the second worst team in the conference this year. That just shows what this place is all about and how much UNH hockey means. And so I'll forever be grateful for that. I had such valuable experiences playing in all these rinks that I went and grew up and watching, going to Agganis and playing there, going to Connie Forum, games and playing. It's funny you say about Providence being my last game. I grew up playing youth hockey in Providence. I My friends had season tickets to the Friars when we grew up. So I always went to games at Schneider, and then my last ever college hockey game ends there. I mean, I wish it didn't, but it's kind of like, okay, my hockey careers came full circle. And so forever be grateful and love my experience. I wish I could have been here for more years up in Durham, but I'll never trade my experience, my hockey journey for anything. I love my 4 years at Babson, and then this year I couldn't have asked for. The only thing I could ask for is for if we had won a couple more games and made it to the Garden. But just looking back on the whole experience was unbelievable.
Well, do you have any shout outs you want to give to your teammates? I'll give a shout out to Robert Cronin. That's my guy from UNH. But if there's anyone else from UNH or Babson that you want to give a shout out to, feel free to do that. Or Jake. But I know we talked about him a little bit, so I don't know if you
Yeah,
can pump his
no,
tires
I don't
too
want
much.
to. I don't want to pump him up even more than I'm sure I already have. So I'm not giving Jake a shout out. But no, my parents have been they've been the rock, and they've been like, without them and what they sacrificed and everything that they've done, I wouldn't how much they when no one else believed in me, they were the ones who always believed in me and stuff. So I think there's someone who'll always shout out, and then my teammates for both at UNH and Babson, even the Winch guys, and any team that I've ever played with, they've made me become a better player and a better person, and so I just am forever grateful for that, and the coaches that along the way that have allowed me to get to this point. And then if I can give any advice to a young player or aspiring college hockey players, that no path is this there's not one path. Everyone has their own path, and just because you're on something that might not be the traditional college hockey path doesn't mean that you won't make it to the end. So just keep working hard, and everything works out how it's supposed to.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Ryan. I really appreciate your time. It means so much to myself. I look forward. I'm going to be at a lot of UConn hockey games
Yeah,
next year, so I'll probably see you at one of
yeah,
those at some point.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. So I can't thank you so much for having me on. Allow me to talk for a little bit. Kind of went
Yeah,
on a little bit long. So
it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's the summer, so we need content to fill up for the off season. So I appreciate as many minutes as you can give me. But no, it was great hearing your story, and best of luck for any future endeavors that you might have after you graduate college. And I'm looking forward to seeing the success that you have after you graduates. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to have me on. And like you said, I'm sure I'll see you at plenty of the Yukon games coming up next year. So best of luck to you for the rest of this year as well, and looking forward to seeing you in the rinks.
Sounds good.